Hi, I'm Melissa Muir. Welcome back to another video. I get a lot of questions on how to use a lot of the tools that I have in my studio for different types of projects. One being the Superior Ring Bender. I've shown you now how to create a spoon ring using that as well as a cuff. And today I'm going to show you how to create a fun little pair of hoop earrings with the cute little dangles. In this case, I've used sterling silver with labradorite. And let's get started now and I'll show you how I did them. The first thing I need to do is get everything ready. So I have two pieces here that are each 5 millimeters wide by just a little over, maybe about 3 inches long. I also have for my ear wires one piece that will be cut in half. It's about 3 1/4 inches long, maybe 3.5 inches, so that each piece will end up being about 1.5 or 1 3/4 inches long. I also have gone through and figured out what I'm going to use for my dangles. So in this case, I have some little labradorite rondelles and faceted square or rectangular beads that I'm going to use. In this piece, I've already smoothed or rounded these corners because the last thing we want to have is any type of lethal jewelry. So I will take my file on this as well and just come in and round the corners so that everything is nice and smooth. Notice that I take my piece and I use the entire length of my file to do this. So I'm going to do that for the other sides on this. Before I form this, I actually want to put my holes into this. It's a little easier to do it right now, however, it can be done after the earring is formed. However, like I said, I like to do it right now. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the middle, and that is going to have, in my case, the rectangular faceted drops. Then I'm going to place the other two. You can decide how far apart you want them. I at least want maybe 1/4 inch, maybe just a little bit more than that. So 5-10 millimeters, however you'd like to go on these. I'm just going to take the time here, make sure that they are pretty close to the center of my piece. Now the other thing that I want to do is I'm going to mark about 1/4 inch in, and this is going to become where I place my posts or the earrings and where I'm going to attach those. So I can also mark a hole in those areas as well, and then this will be where I'm going to bend up for the earring itself. Here's an example of a pair that I have done in copper. So we want to make certain that we leave, like I said, probably about 1/4 inch or maybe a little bit more where we bend these straight up, and then we can attach our ear wires to that. So that's what those holes are for, and then the mark so that we can bend those straight up and then do our forming after that. So now we are ready to do this. I just have a little pair of hole punching pliers. In this case, they're 1 1/4 inch hole that I'm going, or millimeter, 1 1/4 millimeter, not 1 1/4 inch, that's huge. 1 1/4 millimeter hole. I'm going to line this up. I'm going to just punch my hole through. Remove that from my pliers. And there's our 3 holes. And then I will do one at each end also for our ear wire to go through. Okay. And we're almost ready. I'm going to do the other one and we'll begin. So what I've done here is I've taken my pliers and just brought them into the end of my earrings and just given them a slight bend. It's almost a 90-degree, but not quite. And I've done this for both pairs. So you can see that the hole is now kind of bent up, and that's going to, again, be where we attach our ear wire. So now we're ready to take these over to the Superior Ring Bending tool and get these formed. For this pair of earrings, because I'm starting off with a 3-inch blank, I'm looking for a little bit larger size here. So I'm actually going to be using the largest of the dies. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to nestle up to the edge of this, the mandrel here, the mandrel and the die. So I'm just going to kind of nestle up to that die there. The wire, and I'm going to just bring this in and close it around, overlapping each of my pushes. And kind of tightening things back up. And I'll just give a final little squeeze with my fingers, and you will see that it's going to open up quite a bit. There is quite a bit of spring back in this, partly because I did not anneal this, which is not what I was after. I wanted to actually have more of that open hoop anyway, so I didn't want it to be too tight. So again, one more time, just going to take this bend that I've created, nestle it up against that mandrel there, or the former, I'm sorry, and I'm just going to press this up against the mandrel, walk it around, and continually just overlapping these pushes. Again, give this kind of a final squeeze, tighten anything up. And there we have it. So again, we have around that similar sizing with the spring back and everything. Now we're ready to go through and finish forming this and hanging our dangles. So here I have one earring mostly done. It just needs its ear wire, but I wanted to kind of show you where we're headed with this so that you have an idea of what we're going to be doing. I have alternated with the rondelles and that square faceted labradorite bead. And then you can kind of see the way that I've attached these inside is simply made a really simple eye pin on the head of each of these head pins. And that just allows them to have some free movement. The other thing that I have done is I've taken these posts that I'm going to attach my ear wire to and stood them straight up. So let's see how we did this. So we're starting off with, again, our base loop. We have our holes drilled in. I'm going to take one of my rondelle head pins, stick that through, and I'm going to use my round nose pliers to turn a very small little loop here at the top. And I'm going to make it very small. It doesn't need to be very big at all, just enough that it's going to stop our wire from pulling back through. Next, I'm going to take one of my square or rectangular faceted beads, and I'm going to do the same thing. Come in, turn a very small loop, and the final one, third rondelle, insert that through the hole. Again, turn a very small loop. And we now have our dangles and are ready to take and straighten up these, because you can see that these posts currently kind of point outwards. So I'm going to take my flat nose pliers, just bring them in, straighten up that metal just a little bit so that they stand perpendicular to each other. All right, next thing that we need to do is create our ear wires. I have my piece of wire here. It's about 3 1/4 inches. So if you want, you can just take it and use your ruler to cut. It looks like we've got about 3 1/2 inches on this one. So I'm going to come at about 1 3/4 inches, and I'm going to cut that. So get my cutters here, get it into position. If you want, you can take and straighten this up, but you can see we've got two pieces that are pretty similar in size. The last step on this is to create the ear wires. So I now have both of my ear wires. I have filed the ends of these so that they're nice and rounded and will be more comfortable when they are inserted into the ear. Now, You don't have to have all of the tools that I'm showing in this video to be successful at this. This video was meant to show you how to use the tools that you may have in your studio for multiple purposes. So in this case, I'm going to use a pair of small mandrel pliers that I have here in my studio, and I absolutely love. And what I'm going to do is just create a loop for my ear wire, and this is going to attach to one end. I'm going to do it on the other one as well. And then I'm going to create kind of a small arch here, and this is going to be the part that actually sits into the earlobe. Again, I've got another pair of pliers that I'm going to use. In this case, it's a stepped ring plier, or one of your stepped ring mandrels. And I'm just going to bring this around. In this case, I used the second largest, and we now have this for our ear wire. Not our final size, but something that gets us started. So again, place this in here, bring it in, and wrap that around. So now that we have the shape of our ear wires almost, we need to create the little jut that's going to kind of lock it into the hole on our ear wire. So again, I'm going to take my flat nose pliers, grab the end of this, about 3-4 millimeters into it, and give kind of a 90-degree bend in that. Same for the other side. So now we have both of our ear wires, and it's time to hook them into our earrings, and then we'll finish the final form, or that curve that's in these ear wires. To open this up, you want to open it like a jump ring, where you take your pliers and you twist it open. Don't ever pull a jump ring or anything like that open. Always want to twist it. Going to insert my earring hole into this, and again I'm going to come back in here and twist this closed. And at this point you can see that our ear wire is too big, so what we need to do is kind of tighten up this loop a little bit. So I'm going to bring in my stepped mandrels again, and I'm going to come into the smaller curve and just kind of tighten that up a little bit until I can fit this comfortably and lock it into place. Okay, so I'll do the same thing on the second pair of earrings, or second earring, I guess. So again, I'm going to twist open my loop, insert my earring, twist the loop closed, come back with my stepped ring or stepped mandrel, and tighten up that curve. Insert it into the hoop. Make any adjustments you need. So in this case, I'm going to need to adjust the angle and insert this into my earring. And there's my pair of earrings. So like I said, it's not necessary to have all of the tools that I have shown. It is nice to be able to see how these tools can be used in various projects. And I hope you enjoyed this one.